Thank you for staying with us here on the program. It's Politics Today on Channels Television, and we're talking about perhaps the most important part of our democratic process, that is election. And the people have said that Nigeria must get it right in 2015, and if Nigeria must do that, that means INEC must do the right thing. And that's what we're discussing, the timetable of INEC ahead of the 2014 elections and ultimately the general elections in 2015. Let me just quickly take this thought from Eda Odewale. He said, when Kayode Idowu says voter education should be commenced immediately, ask if INEC has released the guidelines. Mr. Kayode Idowu, thank you for standing by. That's a thought from one of our contributors on social media asking for the guidelines when you talked about voter education. Tell us, Mr. Idowu, what you are doing on this particular one.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm happy that Eged is asking this question. I know it's on my mailing directory. Now, fortunately, what we did last week was a step in the process. You will notice that last week, Ekiti and Osun is the first time that we are engaging stakeholders almost 6 months to elections. That is to indicate to you that we are starting a lot earlier than we used to do. And you will see in the coming weeks the series of stakeholder engagements that we'll be having. We'll be having stakeholder engagements with the media. We'll be having stakeholder engagements with civil society groups. Yemi, who is in the studio there, will bear witness to the fact that even with people in our groups, we are having engagements with them to see how much we can reach out to the public through all the avenues that are available. So we are going to be engaging the public on a massive scale.
Mr. Idowu,
make sure that we put.
Mr. Idowu, we surely know that Professor Jega is a very competent man. I mean, at least that's one of the testimonies from so many Nigerians. But what we saw in Anambra State, there was that a lot of preparations on ground, plans were there, almost perfect plans that we saw. But something happened, a systemic problem within INEC. Someone somewhere was doing something wrong, which actually caused a whole lot of havoc to that particular process. What are you doing to sanitize your house this time around, housekeeping, to make sure that someone is not doing, there's a baghead somewhere that is corrupting the whole lot?
Thank you. Let me also point out that from all that you have said, you've spoken about one individual. INEC has more than 16,000 workers. And you know that it is a fair chance that out of more than 16,000 people, one person can do something wrong. Now, the best that the commission can do is to follow through the case that happened in Anambra so as to serve as a deterrent to others if any such inclination still remains in the system.
So how far have you gone? Sorry.
People who have integrity.
How far have you gone on the issue of prosecution of that man in Anambra State?
No, I just told you earlier on that the case is in court. We don't dictate the case in court. The best you can do is to put the case in court, and it's in court.
All right. Tell us about the verification of voters' card and voters at which you said you're going to bring into Ekiti and Osun State elections. Briefly, please.
Yes, we are going to be issuing the permanent voter cards very shortly. Actually, the permanent voter card will be issued before the commencement of the continuous voter registration, such that anybody who does not get his permanent voter card will know automatically that he's not in the biometric register and will come out during the continuous voter registration to get his data captured again. Now, what that means is that if everybody who intends to vote gets his or her permanent voter card before election day, you already know that your name is in the register anyhow.
All right, thank you so much.
Like what happened in Anambra, where you didn't find your name on election day.
All right, I'll have to allow you to go, Mr. Kayode Idowu. Thank you for your thoughts there, because we're really running out of time. But quickly on the thought of some people on the sending us tweets now. Ancestor says, why is INEC hell-bent on presidential election first? Why not governor's election first? Shitu says there was a problem after the presidential election in 2011 and governorship elections were postponed for 2 weeks. Do governorship election first. And Bayo Shoboye says registration could commence now, not only when the election is few months to come. Well, those are some of the thoughts for you there, Mr. Idowu. Just before we round up now, your thoughts on INEC's preparations, the guidelines, the preparations, the timetable of INEC ahead of the 2014 elections and the 2015 general elections. Let me start with you, Yemi.
I think the really critical is what Mr. Idowu just said last, that in Ekiti, the permanent voters card will be issued before the start of the continuous voters registration on March 12th. That's less than a month away. And I'm not quite sure how much INEC has done in sort of sensitizing people to be aware of this and what the process is. This is actually extremely, extremely critical in terms of not repeating what happened in Anambra. If this process can be done right, so that by March 19, everybody who was 18, who wanted to register, was able to do so, has their card, then it will be a great way to start.
And for the timetable?
The timetable, well, it is what it is. I think we should just focus more on details. There are issues, and I think, I mean, to what we had discussed earlier, the influence of the center controlling what might happen in the states. But if we focus on voter education and people actually are voting for candidates that they want in office, maybe it will mitigate it.
Mr. Wale Ogunade, your thoughts, just for us to round up now.
And for those of us whose main thematic area is about electoral process, enhancing and adding value to the electoral process, I guess, just as we did last week, that we went and engaged INEC in Abuja again. I guess in the next few weeks again we'll be having another meeting. Ours is to engage them on their timeline to ensure that they meet up with these various timelines, right? It's not about talking, it's about walking the talk for us to have results. Enough is enough of just talk and rationalizing.
The timetable, what do you feel about the timetable?
We have no problem with timetable fairness, because I know that we're going on the field. Like voters awareness now, as from in the next 2 months, we'll be rolling out the drums. Membership engagement, we'll be engaging the people in the grassroots to educate them on the importance of voting. Don't tell me Nigerians are fooled. Before they go to vote, they have already made up their minds on what they want. So it doesn't matter if the presidential or the governorship comes up, they have already made up their mind. That's what we're going to educate the Nigerian people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wale Ogunade and Yemi Adamalekun, for sharing your thoughts with us on these issues. Well, if Nigeria must get it right, INEC must get it right with 2015 polls, and it needs to start with Ekiti and Osun State polls. That's it on the program tonight. On behalf of the team, I'm Sheun Okimbaloye. Do join us next time on the program. Bye for now.